Welcome to the virtual towers of Binary Arcadia, where the games go on long into the night. You're joining Rich and I today on a holy day, really, Rich. It should henceforth be celebrated once a year as an anniversary of a full and proper gameplay reveal of Death Stranding at Tokyo Game Show 2019.
Wait a sec. Where are you, mate? I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Much like Amelie from the game, my body is on the beach. And I'm coming at you. I'm a virtual guide, if you like. I'm travelling today, Rich.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've probably both barely watched this video or watch as much of it as we can because we live busy working lives, but we wanted to try and get something out there, you know, to celebrate it amongst ourselves and also with the channel. So I believe today's video is going to be a bit of a mashup between half a reaction, because both of us haven't properly watched the trailer, but also half a discussion perhaps on some of the bits we have watched and have ideas about. And do we have an analysis planned, a full analysis planned down the line?
Oh yeah, I think we're definitely going to have to do a full analysis. There's so much going on in this, so we'll have to do a full and complete analysis like we've been doing. But I think for now there's so much in this, we'll just have a full watch of it properly and go from there, basically. Although I can't currently get the video to load, so unless it suddenly spawns into life.
Well, just so you know, I suppose I should just set everybody's expectations. Because I'm travelling, you know, we might have some chiral network issues throughout the journey, and you know, I might dot in and out of this almost asynchronously, you might say. So you're the main host of this journey, and I'm just a traveller that might pop in and out.
I'll try and feed back to you, buddy, on what we're seeing on the screen, so you're kind of caught with. What I'm going to do though is, because there's no English on this, the whole thing is in Japanese, and unfortunately neither myself or Tabz speak or understand Japanese.
No.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick it forward roughly about 7 minutes from the start to where the gameplay starts. Now it is obviously Kojima speaking in, I assume, Japanese, and we won't be able to understand that. Well, some of you might, we can't. So we're not 100% sure what he's saying, but we can talk over what they're showing us.
Well, this is the thing as well, because if we're going to do a more thorough analysis, hopefully by that time we'll actually have some subtitles, you know, or a translation to kind of feed off with that, because I'm sure Kojima has, you know, talked about some very interesting bits and pieces, you know, throughout the gameplay clip that are going to be real morsels to analyse. So, yeah, fingers crossed we'll get something eventually. And if you do speak Japanese, you know, drop us some comments if you've got any sound bites.
Definitely. Tell us what they're saying.
Please.
Tabz, what is it to record the screen?
Is it Windows and G?
Ah, yes, there we go.
And Abby Dozer.
Right, so I'm playing the video.
Brilliant. I've seen some mixed reactions today on this one, Rich. Some people saying they don't think they've seen enough, or there's enough going on. Other people saying, they're totally, you know, it's beyond their expectations. It's only going to get better.
Really?
So, yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I'm in the latter group, personally.
I mean, it goes without saying that it looks absolutely stunning. So just to update you on what we're seeing, he's just clipped his handcuff on properly, and he looks like he's just walked up to a suit, and looks like he's about to suit up, strap the BB on. But I think it looks absolutely stunning. There's a lot of cues, I would say, in there that sort of nods towards MGS, which is really interesting, I think, such as the loadout screen's really interesting, because the loadout screen, which we'll see very shortly, it looks exactly the same as the loadout screen in MGS.
Yeah, and even things like the sound effects, you know, I mean, we said before, the sound effects from MGS was comparable very slightly to the 9-minute trailer we saw. And I think there's you know, you can see the connective tissue there, if you know what I mean. There's a similar
Definitely.
feel to it. But, you know, overall, I would say the complexity of the game, you know, we thought in our previous videos, we talked about the complexity ramping up, this survival simulation and how deep those mechanics go. Well, for me,
Definitely.
it's just getting more and more, isn't it? It's building with every video.
Absolutely.
And I think
So
we've only still seen the tip of the iceberg. Sorry, mate. Tell us what we're up to.
So Sam's fully loaded up now. He's got his kit on. He's not loaded up, but he's got his kit on. And he's just talking to is it Die Hardman?
Die Hardman, yeah. Die Hardman.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. He's just talking to him. I don't know what they're saying. It's all in Japanese or another language. I assume Japanese, but I guess it could be. It's Japanese, isn't it, Tabz?
It's Tokyo Game Show. Kojima's Japanese. It's got to be Japanese.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I quite like the host actually as well. All the host's expressions. She's like, oh, you know, she's like
properly excited, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's genuine as well.
Yes.
But it was certainly added a level of comic relief to the gameplay.
And Sam stepped out. He's gone up in the lift by the looks of it, and he stepped out into what's open to the outside. And it's interesting that Die Hartman. Is this? No, this isn't Die Hartman. Who's the chap with the mask, Tabz?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if it's pronounced Die Hartman or Die Hardman.
Ah,
but
okay.
That's the gist of it. So I don't know if it's pronounced with a D, or if it's like a T sound, but one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's only now appearing. Now we've gone into this like upstairs realm. He's now only appearing as a hologram, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're planning on a future video on this one, aren't we, Rich? But we've recently had some ideas about expanding on this idea that we're operating in a multiverse where there's numerous Sams represented by each player, and that they're aware of that in the game, and then also that perhaps all these holographic people we're seeing represent avatars of people who may be in different universes to ours. So we thought these bunkers might just be a physical bunker underground. Maybe they are just kind of, you know, they're almost...
a terminal.
Yeah, a terminal or a portal to these other dimensions of the universes. So that's an interesting idea.
Just to keep up to date what we're seeing on screen, Tabz, we're currently seeing the bit where Kojima is just loading Sam up with literally as many things as he could possibly put on him. And I don't know if you recall that the woman presenter is laughing as if it's hilarious, which is quite funny, but it just shows you how much cargo Sam could take. But this is what I was referring to, is this looks very much like the loadout screen in MGS where you decide what to take out on a mission. It looks very similar to that.
Yeah, and it's beautifully designed, I have to say. Kojima with his menu systems, they've always had really practically they're complex and deep and interesting, but they're always really quite aesthetically pleasing as well, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting because it's such a simplistic looking user interface, but you can tell instantly there's sub-menus and stuff, so there's obviously a lot of depth of stuff in there, you know.
Oh, there's loads of sub-menus. I mean, it's almost overwhelming in some ways, but I find it interesting. There's almost this mini-game you're playing throughout the entire adventure, which is like a game of Tetris/Jenga on your back.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, and from what we've seen in the rest of the gameplay, thankfully it's not overly sensitive. It looks quite forgiving.
Yeah.
Because that could get tedious.
So he's heading out now into, you know, the real world, I guess we would say it. So he's loaded up with his cargo and he's heading out. And it does look like there's a balancing, as you say, Tabz, to, you know, if you're leaning over too much, you need to balance it with the, with the analog, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, mate. A bit of an anecdote from me. I'm actually currently playing Astral Chain, and as you know, we're hoping to do a review in the short future. But there was a mini game in that where you have to balance cardboard boxes on top of one another, and what you do is you walk with one analog stick, and then you can either balance with the other, or even use the motion controls on the Pro Controller.
Oh wow, that's cool.
But I have to say that it's infuriating. The sensitivity on that is too much. and it's a very difficult thing to do. So I'm hoping with this, like I say, there's a big margin for error because it could become very tedious very quickly. But from what we've seen,
especially if you're doing it all of the time as well.
Well, exactly, yeah. It's I mean, just what we just saw. I think when he was stacked up with all that stuff on his back, he was still only at like about half capacity.
Yeah, I think even with all of that, loads of stuff put on, it was only at like 70 kilos or something. So yeah, I mean, it makes you think, doesn't it?
And presumably that's without any form of exoskeleton as well. Surely we'll up the tonnage you can carry.
Of course, yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's really interesting. And now we've sort of exited the base, but it's fast forwarded to we're in the field. So we're surrounded by this beautiful landscape. I mean, it really is amazing.
Oh, the detail, the textures.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
The kind of game you could zoom in to somebody's, like the pores on people's skin, and still find incredibly smooth complexity, detail, real life quality.
I have to say, something that's a real bugbear for me, especially because I like to be immersed in story-driven games, but it's hard to be immersed in story-driven games where the character's lip sync is so far out with what they're saying that they could be saying anything. You know, for this game, the lip sync, you could lip read people in this game. It's that good. It's amazing.
The mocap is insane as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
I think that's
really
important because we've talked before, Rich, and you made a big point of it. That Kojima's really going for that emotional poignancy in this adventure. He really wants to pull on our heartstrings with all the characters, with the PB especially. And I think that the level of mocap and animation on show is just going to totally accentuate that.
Definitely. So what we've just seen, Tabz, is he goes to cross a river, and he's obviously scanned the area, and there's obviously areas of the river that's too deep for him to like wade through, and that causes him to go off balance, and then he has to sort of like paddle himself to a shallower bit so he can stand up. He loses a bit of cargo, but he grabs the cargo back.
Yeah, he does that on purpose, clearly, doesn't he? Because you can see there's a red marking that obviously denotes this is too deep, don't risk it. Yeah, I suppose he's just trying to show us. And again, it did look quite forgiving, didn't it? Kind of just floated downstream and he picks it back up. So.
And it's interesting to see why all of these things are going on. All of the meters that we've seen, which we referenced in one of the last analyses, they're all moving around. So, you know, the BB's meters going down, your energy levels are going down. So it's really interesting.
This is, I mean, just to come back to the engine again, I find so impressive. We always go on about the Decima engine that he's using in this game. The type of detail on show, along with the fact that all these kind of measurements, and like the overlay when he sends out the kind of pulse and it reveals everything.
Oh yeah.
In like a HUD display, and it's just amazing that it's doing all that. And you know, even later on, you know, we look at traversal mechanics and we switch into vehicles, and the engine is really keeping up impressively with with all that's occurring. And I mean, you see a few stutters, you see a bit of pop up. But broadly speaking, it's mind-blowing, really. Next gen.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be said that for this generation, this has got to be up there with some of the most beautiful games we've seen on this, and this has got to be really pushing the PlayStation platform to places where it's pretty much, you know, it's topping out almost.
Oh, it's unbelievable, mate. You consider the old technology. If you'd have shown this to somebody when the PS4 first came out, their minds would have been blown.
Yes, absolutely, mate.
The level of you know, detail, quality they're getting out of really old tech, essentially.
Yeah, because, I mean, what, the PlayStation 4, 5 years old now? Maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a PC, the components in PS4 and Xbox One, I mean, they're not great, are they?
No, not at all. Yeah, so it's really impressive. I guess that is really a sign of how good this engine is. But just coming back to the gameplay, we've just shown that areas of the map that aren't on the chiral network, you don't have any reference on it. So as soon as you go in there, you're disconnected from the chiral network, and you can't see any of the stuff when you open the map. You know, you can't see any what the land lie is and stuff like that.
Although we should say, we know Kojima did give us a bit of a disclaimer on this. He said that I think he was going to redact some of the map and item details so as not to spoil things. So it may not be like it looks like that in the full game, but certainly in this one, there's a shroud over. Well, as you said, Rich, there's hardly well, probably there's not any story elements really in this reveal, is there?
No, there's not. But what he does is he moves into an area that's not connected to the chiral network. And when he does that, when you open the map, it's just black on the map. You can't see the lie of the land or anything.
Oh, I see, like a fog of war almost. If you play
exactly, yeah, so exactly that.
Something.
Yeah, exactly that. And what he's done is he's just put the anchor in the ground and abseiled down, and then he's just used the ladder as well to go across a little ravine there. Both mechanics we've seen before, I think back in May, both looking equally as nice as they did then. The physics as well on this is brilliant, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like you've got a lot of freedom with where you place these traversal pieces of equipment, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It's not as kind of like sparse as we thought. There's a lot of flexibility there.
No, because we actually mentioned that we thought maybe, there was areas like, oh, you can place a ladder here, but you can't place it here. There was almost like, points where you could put ladders, but it literally seems like you can put stuff anywhere.
And we'll come to it later after we visit this prepper, but we really do see, and I'm convinced of it, this asynchronous gameplay dynamic is much more complex and in-depth than what we even thought, Rich.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So exciting.
So just to catch you up on where we are, mate, we've just delivered the cargo to the little prepper that was just across the ravine from where we used the ladder. And momentarily, we're going to use our Cupid, I think. Cupid, that's it, yep, sorry. We're going to use that to connect to the chiral network.
We're visiting this chap in the prepper, are we?
That's it, yeah. Who, I think this chap that we see here, he is somebody. He's someone related to Kojima in some way. I don't know whether
famous face, maybe in Japan.
I think he is. I've actually what I've actually got on here, Tabz, is after the gameplay video plays out, they show a bit more detail after about like special items and stuff. Yeah. And this chap actually comes out on stage, so he's obviously in some way related. He's a celebrity or whatever it is. So
I thought there was a reaction there which betrayed that, but obviously I don't know him from Adam. So
yeah, I'm right there with you. And then what we've just seen there is that the map's been revealed, Tabz, and as you mentioned, some asynchronous gameplay has been revealed.
What, so we've seen the other ladder behind?
Well, so there's some asynchronous things been revealed on the map, but we're still inside the prepper at the minute. So momentarily, once we finish talking to him, in Japanese, of course, we're going to move out again, and we'll be able to see what is there.
In the space hub, you mean? In the prepper space hub?
Yeah, we're still in the space shuttle, Tabz.
It still looks a bit like one. It's got that kind of big door.
A little bit. This one looks more like a bunker to me. He gives him a tool here. What does he give him here?
I'm not sure.
Like he gives him a tool.
It's a harmonica.
Oh, okay.
Because he later plays it. I think you missed that part of the video this morning, and I saw it. It's one of these, again, ridiculously wacky Kojima moments.
Fantastic.
But, a lovely piece of interactive gameplay which just puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it shows that attention to detail that, you want to see from everyone that's making games. You want that bit of personality in games.
Well,
that's what you get with Kojima.
It comes back to that evolution in games. I remember first playing Duke Nukem 3D and realising you could actually have the Wii in the urinal. It's that sort of level of interactivity. Kojima loves to play with those sorts of features. And they really do sometimes they really surprise you and just, they put a smile on your face, don't they? So
absolutely.
Some of them are a bit gimmicky, but, I'm all for it.
So first bit of asynchronous gameplay, we can see our ladder there, and then we've just come across a ladder that somebody else in their game has placed down, I guess before us, and we can see their footprints of where they've traversed from.
And interestingly, there's lights, isn't there, on the ladders, so...
Yes.
Again, this basically confirms that what we discussed before, either there was a fully functional or a pseudo-social network within the game. There is. I think there's both. I think there's a fully functional, operational social network built into the game. The players can interact with each other, as well as, I think you get lights from some of the AI and the NPCs as well. Because you get lights from the BD at one point.
And it looks, well, yeah, which we're about to see actually, Tabz. But it looks like if you go and use someone's ladder, you can give it a like. You know, someone else's ladder, you can give it a like.
Exactly, and we don't know what the likes are for. It has to be some form of a currency, or it has to give you some form of. I've gone off the idea of reputation, Rich, purely because, well, the reputation has to be kind of on a continuum, and it has to be a way to lose likes. But there's no dislike, is there? Which is a good thing, because you don't want a load of griefing. You know, they call it griefing in games, where there's players out there who just want to, you know, make everybody's life a nightmare and ruin people's fun. So it seems there's only a way to like, not to dislike.
And Sam's now resting. He's moved away and he's now resting. Oh yes, Tabz, he plays the harmonica. That's awesome.
Which I don't know. Maybe will that play out like the ocarina in Ocarina of Time, where you can kind of play different notes with different buttons? That would be amazing.
Maybe, yeah. And it looks like his BB is enjoying that. So the BB is giving him likes because he likes the tune he's playing, which is really interesting.
I mean, again, these likes, I'm racking my brain as to what. Are they traded for something? Do they just give you some greater influence in the world in some way? I mean, in terms of practicality, you can, you know, if you like can like equipment, if you see like 20 likes on a ladder and 5 likes on a ladder, well, you're going to take the 20 probably, because it seems like it's the most preferred route.
Yes, that's very true.
So
maybe it's used more for that, but then I don't know. Unless you use your. Unless likes, like, so it's not just like, you know, like the likes of Facebook and stuff, you can like a picture. Maybe you can go, well, I can put 10 likes on that ladder, or I can put 15 likes on that ladder. Maybe you spend it like currency like that.
That's true, yeah. So, yeah, you're depleting your likes all the while, because you can only give how many you've got.
Yes. It's really interesting to note here, Tabz. So he's decided to go to sleep, which we've seen lots of. We've mentioned this in a couple of videos that we've done, whether it plays out. It appears as this is the way to recover health. And we're just looking at there, I think it comes a little bit further on, but as we've seen, the health is in millilitres, which we thought was a bit of a weird conundrum. Yeah. But it looks to be that refers to blood.
Literally blood packs that you can take
yes, exactly that.
And am I right in thinking later in the trailer, I can't remember, it was a bit fuzzy in my memory, but did Sam actually like go back to base and create, you know, donate his own blood, and he can then perhaps use this on his travels, and perhaps you can share that with players as well, you know, all sorts.
Yeah, I think when he returns back to base at one point, it says blood transfusion complete or something along them lines. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he's coming to this ladder. It's got 29 likes, and he's just going straight up it.
I mean, we like to see when it happens, but you see all sorts of stuff. You can put signs down to share asynchronously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. And we don't know how many players you can play with asynchronously, because there has to be a limit, right?
And also, one thing we also don't know, and as a friend said this to me this evening, we don't know whether, remember Pro Evo Tabz, we were trying to play a Pro Evo with each other the other day, and it would only allow you to play it with a randomly selected person. Yeah. So we don't know whether it's like that, or it's literally like me and you are going to obviously, if we can, play asynchronously together. We don't know whether it's like that.
I really hope they have that, so there's an element of being able to join friends. But obviously,
yes, I hope so.
They need to cater for both. They have to, like you say, they have a matchmaking function before you launch into a game that randomly picks a pool of 20, 30, 40 players.
Yeah.
I'd say, Rich, that's where most of my fears lie. Not around the gameplay, it being entertaining enough. I think we've seen enough, and I think there's more to come with that. I think it's just that the technology is reliable enough for this social asynchronous strand gameplay to work reliably. That's my concern.
I agree. My concern is, though, and just so to keep people up on what's happening on the game, so he found a crate that somebody else had dropped asynchronously. It was damaged. He's used some sort of spray to fix the crate. He's picked it up and he's gone to this, almost like a cargo hub, and he's going to take out...
It was a lost cargo it popped up at, didn't it? And what was interesting, you also see like the username of somebody, don't you?
Yes.
Like somebody's name underscore, you know, again, feeding into this social network, you know, you create a username.
exactly.
a handle, if you like.
And I think,
And did you go to a post box with it?
yeah, so he goes to like a Bridges almost post box. I guess that's a really good way of describing it. And he basically drops some kit off, and then he grabs some kit. So that's quite cool. But I think the game, if you play asynchronously, I think you need to limit how many people you play. Like for instance, there's obviously 1 or 2 other people playing asynchronously with on this playthrough. But if there was 40 or 50, there would be ladders everywhere. So I think,
exactly. It'll get out of hand, wouldn't it? And,
yeah,
you know,
I think it's the idea is that it's like a small, there's a small amount of people playing asynchronously together, if that makes sense.
well, this isn't cloud computing, is it, thankfully? And so, there's only so much bandwidth available before the game's just going to sink under its own weight in that respect.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
So-
because obviously all of this is all being loaded in real time.
Well, that's the other thing, though, and the map is colossal, so maybe it's more match made in real time, depending on your location on the map. Because otherwise, people could essentially... You can't be match made at random. It has to be to do with location, doesn't it? Because if there's only 20 people in the whole map, well, you might never really come across anything from another person. It's
True.
really baffling. It must be really clever the way they designed it.
And then just so...
So has he come to this musical lamppost yet? I thought that looked cool.
He's moved past that.
I mean, another strange thing, but very cool, isn't it? Very.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, we know what Kojima's like. He absolutely loves music and movies. It's interesting to note that at the post box he took out like a sledge to help him carry his cargo, and now he's decided to basically use it as a skateboard.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's got this kind of multi-function, and I think we'll see that with other equipment. That
Yeah, oh, definitely.
it's the same thing in different ways. And another thing that we'll see later, won't we? But it's reversing mechanics in this game. They're starting to look really fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll come on to the speed skeleton later, but I mean, how cool does that look? Wow.
Well, I mean, he's got a skeleton on now, but so this part here, so he's moved into this camp and he's going to take out this bloke and then get caught or get spotted. But this reminds me the most of this game of MGS. This is like classic MGS.
Oh yeah,
the
stealth
sneak up
mode
behind this and a stealth knockdown or whatever.
I didn't get this strand thing he puts around him. He like binds him with something called a strand.
Yeah, I don't
What
know.
that means? For a minute, I thought he was going to function balloon him.
Brilliant.
Which would have been cool, but
Yeah, it really would.
the strand thing to me means something. I'm not sure. Does that maybe that asynchronously puts that guard out, so that also strands him out in another person's game?
Maybe.
Not just your own? That would be very interesting.
Well, that would be interesting because you could do, if you were both playing together, so you playing with each other asynchronously, and you need to take out a camp, you can literally work together on it.
Yeah, and you just see guards kind of just fall over, wouldn't you? All of a
Yeah,
sudden?
amazing. And then, Spaghetti-O! He's been spotted by these people, and there's the alert sound that sounds a little bit like MGS. And
Yeah,
he's running off
less
now.
so in this one, more so in the other one.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And he takes out this bowler gun, I think it is.
that
Bowler
looks
gun?
amazing, doesn't
Looks
it?
really cool, doesn't it? And it almost like wraps them with energy, I don't know, and like stuns them. It's really interesting.
Well, we'll see later that it works on BTs too, so I think you bang on when you say it's energy rather than something physical.
Yes, which is really interesting. This is really cool. He throws one of his crates at this chap and it knocks him out.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't
That was
it? Again,
brilliant.
just like so practical, you make use of what you have. Even
skeleton,
precious
mate.
cargo. Oh, is it engaged?
Yeah, he ran and was as quick running as this vehicle was moving.
Well,
Brilliant.
I love this as well. The vehicle, you can tell it's got this look that it's almost a bit Mad Max. Like it's been scrapped
it's
together.
rusty. Yeah.
It was a bit scrappy challenge to recall something from our youth, Rich.
Nice, mate.
And I
it really
love
does
that
look like
idea.
that.
I love that look, and I mean, he blows it up in next to no time, doesn't he? But
yeah, he gets one of these energy javelins that they're throwing at him. He gets done, and this is amazing, where he uses a speed skeleton to jump the ravine test.
oh my word, yeah,
It's unbelievable.
It's going to be sensational, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this builds onto another thing that I really enjoyed about this trailer. in other trailers, there's been a sense of fragility, a sense of, how difficult is it going to be? Well, this trailer really makes Sam look pretty powerful, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't seem to have too much trouble, wandering around, bubbling about with these enemies, and he's just owning, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. And I wonder whether Kojima's decided, because of maybe the feedback he got from the Gamescom gameplay, maybe he felt like he needed to slightly tilt this one differently.
Yeah, I
people
think
were saying this was a walking simulator because of how it was, and I think maybe that didn't hit quite the right note that Kojima wanted it to, so maybe he's tweaked this to show, actually, no, there's more going on here than this.
Well, that's it, and that's why I don't fall on the side of the court where people are saying, "Oh, I'm not that impressed. There's not that much going on," because, in this we've seen a number of gameplay dynamics, which, I think Yong Yi compared it with Breath of the Wild, and there is elements of that, like you're kind of surfing on Link's shield in Breath of the Wild, where you've got that little thing you mentioned earlier that he kind of slides down a hill on, and then we've
like
got
a little trolley.
Yeah, and then we've got this speed skeleton. We get the bike later. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I think
it's really interesting that all of these things, the skeletons, all these things, they take energy and they deplete energy. They have like a battery, and there's these posts that are dotted around the world that are able to recharge that. And just to
there's a bridge, isn't there, at some point that does a similar power bridge?
Yeah,
and that seems to be the creation of a user, I believe. But we'll come back to that.
It does look a bit like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So just to let you know where we're up to, Tabz, he's in this like more industrialised area, and he's just found one of those gold hands coming out of the ground, and he picked it up, and I believe it says Chiral crystal acquired.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see that at all, Rich.
Yeah,
so there is
I noticed
actually
that when I was watching.
So that could be that currency we mentioned on the previous video, the hand symbol.
Or it's used for something, because it actually comes up with a grams, as in like it's so many grams collected.
Very
and I notice as well, if you remember, we saw in the background this like red like blobs in some of the things we've seen. That is actually something to be collected, because on this, a little bit further on, he goes up to that and collects some of it.
Oh, is that when he goes up to the rock and he gets a crypto biota, I think?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, mate.
So obviously those little crypto biotes inhabit some of those rock formations, and we know from previous videos that they help to immunise you against timefall.
That's it, yeah. And so I think he's about to come across some BBs here. The bridge, not the BT, the BTs, sorry.
Yeah.
The BB sensors going off, and I think momentarily we're about to see some of them.
Have we gone over this power bridge, by the way, Rich? Have we passed that?
No, that's a bit later on. I think
later, is
that's
it?
after.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in this area, where there's the BTs, and then he gets dragged down, and he's about to fight this like four-legged monster thing.
Yeah, which looks very much like the golden lion we saw.
It does,
but
yeah.
like a less powerful version, maybe.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether this is maybe this is after that, maybe, so that enemy's been introduced, if that makes sense.
But it almost seems, I mean, I don't know if it happens every time, but these BTs, when you come across BTs, it seems that perhaps you kind of, if you trigger them, you enter into this almost sub-boss fight, which may determine whether there's a void out or not.
Yes.
So if you defeat it, no void out. If it gets you, there's a void out. Maybe.
I'd like to know. So he obviously is firing this like almost stun gun at these things, and he's about to get dragged down. But I'd like to understand what it does, because it doesn't seem to do a great deal to them.
No, they're just kind of frozen on the spot, aren't they? It kind of wraps them around the ankles again, doesn't it? But
unless they are moving all the time, and it's a way of stopping them moving, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they move very slowly. They kind of drift, and that kind of anchors them to one point to make it slightly easier.
Yeah.
But
and then some.
I mean, shortly, Rich. I mean, what did you think of the water physics, mate?
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Aren't they?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Real-time deformation as well. It looks like.
Oh yeah, and it's really, really interesting. There's so much going on in this fight with this thing. You've got all these like artifacts like buildings and buses and cars and rocks, and they're all like floating up. They all look like they're moving in real time. It's incredible.
It's going to be an absolute feast and banquet for when it comes to analysing, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
almost scary. 4 hours.
It's really interesting. It looks like he's throwing blood packs at it here.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. I tried to see what it says.
Something's blowing up on it, isn't it? They're like hand grenades or bombs. Is the effect it comes across like.
It's like a red mist comes over it, so I'm struggling to understand that at the moment.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Oh, it did come up then. I'll have to. When we do the analysis, we'll pause that and we'll just see what it is.
I mean,
It's something.
Go on.
It's something canister, I think.
Okay. So there's some sort of antimatter maybe that can fight off the BTs, which is interesting.
It does seem like it, doesn't it? Oh, the jumps you can do with this speed skeleton's incredible.
Yeah, how that's going to feel, I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm excited to play around with that. That would be great.
Absolutely.
But this bridge that we're going to come to, Rich, I'm excited about that. I really want to know if that is a player construction, because that makes me think, are there sort of bigger, more complex constructions that you can fabricate that can really make a big difference to your quality of life throughout the game?
It's really interesting you should say that, because on the same screen when we see that, and we'll come to that shortly, viewers, there's actually some yellow like taping around something else, and it says construction in progress.
Oh, mate. I mean, I was literally thinking then before, you know, almost a bit Command and Conquer style, where you're building these base elements, and I'm thinking Rich is going to be in his elements.
I'm all in.
How cool would that be? That you can make these big complex constructions like throughout the map, and again that can be used and shared asynchronously. I mean, and Kojima said, hasn't he, that the maps are very modifiable, very customizable. Nobody's map will be the same. So
and what's happening here, Tabz? Did you see this bit where there's like white people come out of the stuff and they start throwing like items at you?
No. No.
Yeah, so further on in the fight, there's like white people come out, like greyed out people. Actually, they look a bit like Sam. So
this is actual other players then, maybe?
Maybe.
Sending in aid during the fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to understand that more.
That must be, again, another asynchronous mechanic, mate.
Potentially,
that does sound a lot like the Bloodborne asynchronous gameplay, where you could leave messages to each other. Maybe there's some, you know, a way to leave an interactive shadow of yourself that can help out in some way.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they've gone now, so I don't know. I mean, this boss fight goes on for, you know, a good period of time. And
it doesn't look easy.
He looks like he uses like he uses something to like mark the beast, and then he uses another gun and fires at that as if he's like tagged the monster.
Interesting.
And I think that's what kills it, as if that's like the finishing blow, which is really interesting.
Again, I just couldn't get my head around all that's going on. You see all these gorgeous water effects. They're deforming off every object on screen. And all the time, you've got all this fast-paced animation and Sam in menus.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's incredible that the PS4 is doing that, I think. And I'm not knocking the PS4 when I'm saying that. I'm just, as technology goes, the PS4 is quite old hat now. Just because of how we've moved on, you know. We've got graphics card with ray tracing. Me and Tabz have both got one.
Yeah.
So that's what I refer to as that. I'm not saying that the PS4 is underpowered. It's just really interesting.
And just to say, Kojima emphasised that before this video, this will give us a basic understanding of a day in the life of Sam, of what the gameplay will feel like. And I emphasise the word basic. I think there's lots more to come in terms of the gameplay and the mechanics.
Yeah.
So don't just think this is it. I think there's plenty more.
But to be fair, I mean, what have we seen so far? We've seen combat, we've seen stealth.
I'm still overwhelmed by it.
Yourself.
Fabrication,
there's so much
items,
going on.
Equipment.
Yeah.
I mean,
choices to make. I do like this bit though. He goes to this pool and bathes in there.
Yeah. And he starts singing to himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, don't he? Yeah,
I mean, it sounds
really
full
nice.
on goofy. I'm hoping Norman Reedus' rendition will be a little bit more stylish, maybe.
but it's cool, isn't it? It's also cool to note that Sam's hair is longer at points in this than it is when we first see him.
Oh wow! So it grows naturally.
Or as if time's moved forward. When we first see him in this trailer, he's got his hair tied back, but it's quite short.
Interesting.
But now he's got like shoulder-length hair.
I suppose the time fall could have an effect on that. I don't know. Maybe not.
Actually, yeah. Maybe that's why he puts his hood up.
Have we seen the sign screen yet? Briefly, it flashes up, doesn't it? A vast menu of different signs, which just made me think, oh, this is going to be cool.
Yeah, not yet. I think he does that as he comes out of this like spring that he's in.
Because does he put a sign up to say it's a bath or something, doesn't he?
Something like that, yeah. Because it's interesting, because when you look at this from afar, you would think this would be like something bad. You wouldn't want to interact with this.
Oh, yeah, I thought like sulphurous, poisonous, toxic, pit. But obviously, no, it will have a bath.
No. Yeah, exactly.
And again, the BB likes it, doesn't he? Doesn't he look down at his BB?
Yeah, I think it gives him likes, I think, doesn't it?
I think, mate, I can see myself growing very fond of this BB. Just all the little elements throughout the game. I think you're going to become very much, companions.
Definitely.
I think that's what Kojima's after with it. Yeah.
So he's just wading out of this, like recharging spring, and he's about to drop his. He's about to drop this sign that you mentioned, which brings up this, like you say, ridiculous menu of signs, which looks like it's hundreds of different signs.
Yeah, I mean, with Kojima, I'm never surprised at how much detail he's probably put in. You can probably design your own signs as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, this is what frightens me, but at the same time excites me. The level of depth in his games and the multifunctionality of so many items. I mean, it's just going to be an absolute, sandpit of emergent gameplay dynamics, which is what we loved in Breath of the Wild. I keep making that comparison. But, so exciting.
And then it just so happens, and it's interesting, Tabz, earlier on he took a Monster health drink down, and it looks like Monster energy drinks are affiliated to the game now.
Well, he was sponsored at the booth at TGS, wasn't he? So that is actually in the game, is it? Blimey.
Yes, I think so. I think it comes up towards the end. The thing that's after this gameplay trailer, which, to be honest, is not very interesting because you can't understand what they're saying. They say something about it there, so I'm guessing that's in the game.
Not sure how I feel about that, but I'm presuming Kojima did it for good reason.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. And he's found this motorbike, and this is where he's come to this bridge that you mentioned, Tabz.
Yeah, I mean, can you see anything which tips off that it is another player's? I'm sure you see a username somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's got green likes on it. That suggests that it's a bridge, doesn't it?
Yeah, and is there not a username that flashes up? Well, I'd love to bottom that one out. But it's a power bridge, isn't it? Seemingly it powers up, maybe charges your depletable items while you're on it.
Exactly that. And then you just saw on the right-hand side there, if you were quick to see, that's where there's something that says construction in progress. And it's very interesting that we quickly moved away from that, as if Kojima doesn't want to... Just a tease. Just a breadcrumb. I feel like that's what we're seeing there. I really do.
And can you imagine, mate, having, like the signs of a vast list of menus of all these different kinds of things you can fabricate? And again, those are systems which the likes could feed into. The expanse of the chiral network might unlock more of these. Very much in the way, Mother Base in MGS 5. You had to expand, didn't you, to get more options to create better technology?
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's almost got it looks like it's got an element of you remember Skies of Arcadia, Tabz, when you could sort of upgrade your base or your homeland. It's almost as if there might be some of that in the game. I don't know.
I'd love that. We speculated on the last video whether we have our own prepper's base. To kind of maybe customise, do up, almost a bit Animal Crossing style. I would love that. I think that would be a lovely touch, and I think it'd be a missed opportunity if it's not in there.
Definitely. So he's just traversing this world now, and you can just see how crazy this scenery is. I mean, this map must have taken forever to digitise, because it's just incredible the amount of detail on it.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, he got some flack, didn't he? What's he doing? He's been a while on Death Stranding. I mean, the amount of the density of the game and the content in it. I'm not surprised. I think he's done amazing work. It's so complex.
But it's not a bland landscape, is it? There's literally rocks and crevices and overhangs and caves all over the place. It's incredible.
And we keep going on about it, but there's so many interconnected systems and mechanics within the game.
Yes.
Balancing that out is no easy task. And not only that in a single player game, but balancing it out in a game which we know has asynchronous elements that go deep. That is a very difficult task, and he's a genius, no doubt in my mind. He is a genius.
Definitely, and obviously the people, he's not made this game on his own. His game studio, he's obviously
kudos to the team. Yeah,
very clever people that he's hired to work with him. So he's done an amazing job there. But it's interesting. We're coming up to what looks like a port, and it really does make me think.
Port, not city. Yes.
Yeah, we're very much concentrated on the Americas. And again, we've not had any indication of what's happening in the rest of the world.
No, absolutely. And you see in this briefing trailer, I don't know, they've got some weird way they name each other, which is obviously where Sam Porter Bridges has come from, because they want to kind of rename Amelie. Is it Samantha America Strand?
Yes, which is very strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like in this new world, they've got this weird naming culture, which I'm presuming we'll have explained at some point. But yeah, I mean, that places it in America, doesn't it? Absolutely.
She says something like, we need to reconnect America to safeguard humanity, which almost suggests that the rest of the world is lost. But I don't know, why would there be a port if the rest of the world was lost? And there's obviously ships in the port. You can see them here.
And then in the briefing trailer, we said in the last video, we introduced this theory, which, I'm moving further and further away from as days go on. But because it seemed Sam was burned, which made me think that, he was used in the past. But it sounds more like, now I've seen the briefing trailer in full clarity, it sounds more like they've somehow gave up on him, or they left him out. He feels like they sacked him off almost.
Yeah, there was some, after Bridget dies seemingly, which I think we've seen a very short snippet of that where they're all stood around a body that's being cremated. And I think that's the moment, or the cutscene where Bridget dies, or has died. At some point after that, Sam sounds like takes himself off on his own. For whatever reason, because they say, you left us, Sam, we never abandoned you, or something along those lines.
And they introduced the fact that Amelie went on this pilgrimage with all the people to the west, which seemingly like Sam didn't know about that. So it's like there's been some time passing, hasn't there, between...
Yes, for whatever reason, and we don't know why. But yeah, I would like to understand why we only focus on America in this game.
The mission to the moon theory was cool and interesting, and the background to colonising new planets. I mean, that might still be slightly involved, but I am moving further and further away from it, I have to say.
I still think that there must be something. There must be something with the moon, though, Tabz. Sure.
Yeah. I still think there's involvement, but I think I've perhaps attached on to the wrong. Like I say, it was fun while it lasted, but I think there's just a few things here which are making me think, okay, maybe not so much.
And it's interesting when he goes into this new distribution centre. He's scanned on the way in to check that he hasn't got any foreign objects, which I think's interesting. Almost like you can be infected by something.
That's interesting. Yeah, could there be a disease or infection or a level of the timefall that you need to keep at bay? Otherwise, they won't let you pass.
Yeah, potentially something along those lines, yeah.
To be honest, here on out, I'm pretty much blind because I don't think I saw much of this.
So he's dropped off those four crates that he took with him, basically. They were the ones that he needed to deliver here. He talks to this chap again. We don't know what he's saying because it's in Japanese. He gets scored, in essence, or what seems like he gets scored on what he's delivered. It seems like it shows you what was in these crates. He gets 104 likes, and then it does say a few other things here, like it almost grades him on the mission. And then he basically goes on and uses the Cupid to connect this distribution center to the chiral network.
Very interesting. I almost feel like the likes, you could almost imagine there's a catalogue somewhere that you go back and you can trade these likes for quality of life features in the game. I mean, it feels like there has to be something like that.
Again, though, I would say this shows us a bit more what we're doing in the game, but it doesn't really answer lots of the questions we have about the game. Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Etc.
It's a specific cross-section, isn't it? So in that way, I think... Well, I mean, we know we're going to get, another half hour of new gameplay footage in a couple of days' time, is it?
Tomorrow morning and the following morning.
So hopefully, we're going to know a bit more.
Well, I think he said tomorrow, I think, is the gameplay, and then there's some more stuff about the characters in the following one.
That'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting.
We'll see how that goes. And I think it's a similar kind of time, like 7:30. So that'll be interesting.
Up early then. Oof.
So and then he goes down into this Bridges distribution center, and he finds himself in his bed area or his hub. I don't know what you would call it.
Oh, I do remember seeing some bits here. Is this where he takes the blood?
Complete.
Yes, that's it.
Blood levels restored, batteries charged, BB's pacified.
And does he get in the shower as well?
Yeah, and then he showers, and then there's some kind of talking. He's talking to someone, and the toilet comes out, and he kicks the toilet back in.
See, this is interesting. I was told by a friend, does he wink at the camera? Does he spike the lens at one point here? So he breaks the fourth wall. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, he does look at the camera and almost nods as if to say, all right. Yeah, he does. He looks at the camera and winks, mate.
So there you go. That's almost this special place that Kojima was talking about, because didn't he literally say about Sam winking, and where you'll really like Sam and you'll get to know Sam in a different way? And interestingly, it goes to a first-person point of view when you're in the shower, doesn't it? You look at your baby.
Yeah, looking at his battered feet, which
his feet,
horrible.
Yeah, they do look.
Yeah,
deathly.
They look horrendous.
So again, there's a fourth wall break, though, isn't there? There's a meta.
Yeah.
There's a sense of meta.
Which we've literally just discussed a few days ago.
Yeah. So, I think it's going to have to tackle the fact that there are a multiverse of Sams. It's got to tackle that, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. I'd like to know some more, because I still feel like there's no more information about the game. Like, all the questions I had have not been answered.
Well, yeah, I mean...
That's it.
This is all just filler in between. It's just purely gameplay, isn't it? And none of the story is played out at all, really.
No.
So...
But it would be nice to have a bit of background on the story so we could understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think players have mixed opinions on it. I follow a couple of Facebook groups, and some people are saying, they don't even want to see this. They're just going to wait until November, and they want it all to be a big surprise. But personally, for me, I'm a fiend for it. I'm just enjoying all the speculation. And
absolutely, and for me, this just drives my hype a little bit for it. I'd like to know a little bit more about the game. That's a really good indication of how the game plays out. And I think if looking at that, it's like, and I've mentioned it a few times, but the game is a bit like a different take on MGS on Metal Gear Solid, which I guess, given that Hideo has created all of the MGSs, I think, or at least most of them, it's understandable that it's going to be a little bit like MGS, because that's what he does. They're his games. But I love those games. So if it builds on that and puts a different slant on it and creates these new emergent gameplays to that, then how would it not be a brilliant game?
And I think there's a number of influences, even looking at Silent Hill, or Silent Hills as it was going to be called. That was based on the premise of this other world of the dead, if you like.
Yeah.
Kind of merging into the real the normal dimension. And that's essentially a lot what's happening with Death Stranding. So he's just a creative mastermind, isn't he? He's just, it's baffling how good his ideas are.
And I sort of agree with that. I don't want to see the whole game. I don't want to see
don't
everything.
want to have the plot beat spoiled, do you?
No, but I'd like to have some little, like, what are the likes about? What are they to do with? You know, I don't want to have every single piece of equipment or whatever explained to me, but there's some fundamental things that would help me put some dot some I's and cross some T's so I can understand the game more.
That's it. It's the context, isn't it? It's that context that you really just want to a few key things within the game, and we'll be happy with that. I don't know if we'll get it though, Rich, before November. I think
no, but if we don't, that's fine. I'm also fine with that. You know, I can't wait for that weekend where we play it together.
Yeah,
so you know, it's going to be brilliant.
Which is delayed by a week, isn't it? Unfortunately, we'll let the Barcadians know now in advance. But
yes,
we are going to delay it by a week, and perhaps they will have the unboxing the weekend prior, just to get something up on the channel, and then I wish we booked time off work, mate. I really do.
I know, yeah. Yeah, just to fill people in, I'm away. I've got Stag Do that weekend, the weekend that it comes out on the Friday, so I'm not going to be able to play it that weekend. So, and we wanted to get together and play it like together at least the first, 4 or 5 hours, just because that would be cool. So we're going to just do it on the next weekend. It means we'll miss out on a week's worth of gameplay or potential gameplay, but. But
it's fine because by then the cat's out of the bag anyway. We've not got much to speculate on at that point. It's more just expressing, our enjoyment of the game and how much we like it. So
yeah, but also, I'll be very, very eager to play it by that point. I'm eager to play it now. If it was out tomorrow, I would go and get it tomorrow. So even though I'm going away, I would go and get it tomorrow. So yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, that's it, Tabz. The gameplay's finished, so it's really interesting. I think some really cool pieces in there, and really starts to show a bit more about what day-to-day's life like is, or day-to-day gameplay is like on it. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said throughout, but I'm just really impressed by it. I think what we've seen is still the tip of the iceberg. There's still a lot more to come, and depths to everything we've seen that we probably can't even comprehend yet. So I think for any doubters out there that you're thinking, okay, there's still not enough going on for me, give it a chance. I think suspend your judgment at this point and have hope, because I think it's going to be a colossal game.
Yeah, I do as well, definitely. I really do. And from what I've seen, I think it's going to be monstrous. I think it's going to be a massive game, huge game.
Yeah, I think at least 50 hours and maybe more.
Yeah.
I can't think it will be anything less. I mean, yeah, maybe it's one of these games, if you just do the main beats in the story, I don't know, maybe you can smash it in 20, 30 hours. But I think with all the other bits, all the progress that you can achieve in other areas, got to catch them all, collectibles, building up your chiral network, I think you're probably looking at 50 hours plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially if you want to complete the chiral network, which I'm guessing will be an achievement on the game.
Yeah, and in some ways, there's probably, once you start introducing things like customizable mechanics, modifications, almost the ability to create your own world within the open world. Well, then you're kind of extending the life indefinitely, aren't you? Where you can, and with the asynchronous mechanic as well, it adds an almost. Each time you play the game, there'll be something new, something different. And if they do DLC drops, which, hopefully they don't really monetize too aggressively, I can't imagine Kojima would, then, you could see this having a big shelf life.
The one thing for me that looks like to be missing at the moment is a fast travel feature.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that's in there at the moment, which is fine. But given the size of the map, the map looks absolutely enormous.
Exactly, and enormous readers. No, sorry.
Nice.
Let's stop the bad joke. No, but like Red Dead 2, for example, the lack of a fast travel feature, it got old, didn't it?
Yes.
You can the first, few traversals between different places on the map's fine. It's still fresh, still new. But eventually, you really did feel that it was missing, and it became a bit of a bugbear. So I'm really hoping he has built something in there.
He did on the, MGS5. You had the helicopter that you could call in to move you around the map. So
yeah, that's true.
he has known for that. At the moment, I'm struggling to see how they would implement it, but you know, we don't know. We've not seen enough, which is incredible, really, given the fact that the game's out in 8 weeks' time, and we still don't know much about it. I bet can't be that many games that are 8 weeks out from dropping, and they're so guarded in secrecy like this.
I wonder if he uses a similar thing to Horizon, which we know Decima was pinched from, because they had like a travel pack and they were consumable.
Okay.
So you kind of had to either buy them, or I think you could fabricate them. So obviously there's then a finite amount. That might be a good middle ground. So they're precious and you don't want to abuse them, but there's an element there that you can fall back on that, you know, in tight spots. I mean, in Horizon you could actually eventually make like an infinite travel pack, which kind of did away with that. But maybe something like that would be a nice balance.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, should we bring this one to a close, my friend? Yeah,
definitely. So I really enjoyed that, looking at that and talking through it. I hope everyone else did. And as always, if you did, give us a like, and if you didn't, a dislike, and drop us in the comments what you didn't find so good. And if you did like what you've seen, remember to subscribe and click that bell for notifications so you can be updated on all our new content.
And feel free to share, you know, this video and any other videos with people who you think have similar interests to you and who might enjoy it. It will definitely help grow the channel, increase our chiral network, and you know, it's just good stuff. So please feel free to do so.
Definitely. So I think that's about it. Another one for the archive.
Stamped and completed.